Furi opens with a sense of danger and mystery. A purple thunderstorm signals an omen of death to come, or perhaps transpired. A captive rests shackled in a cell. His long and wild white hair defies gravity as his body slumps down with the stillness of broken body and spirit. A menacing figure approaches, and the captive receives a shock, the first jolt within our own psyche for understanding these characters and their relationship. And to understand them is to begin to understand the world, the lore, and the deeper meaning within the depths of Furi.
You were a weapon, a bringer of death.
The jailer objectifies the man as an instrument of destruction, implying that he is deadly and undeserving of humane treatment.
And now, you're nothing.
There is therefore nothing left to take away, so we gather that this torture only serves the jailer's ego. We learn that we are the prisoner as the jailer lifts our head to show that he has not one but three faces. The saying goes that we have a face we show the world, a face we show our family, and a face we never show. The jailer shows the world a calm face, self-assured and in control.
I will keep on killing you. Again and again.
He betrays that self-control, however, revealing his true self as that of a demon, dangerous and tormented. This is further reinforced with his orange hair, which in Western media tends to indicate a traumatic past, such as physical abuse.
Your future, an eternity of slow, painful death.
With no reason to believe otherwise, we apparently cannot permanently die.
I hear thunder. Pitter patter.
A soothing quote from a nursery rhyme. Scary things are not necessarily dangerous.
Time to wake up.
The source of the voice is yet unknown, but it urges us to raise our consciousness, to see that stepping out into the rain to confront the jailer is not as dangerous as he would like us to believe.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here with you.
As if reading our mind, he counters the voice with his own conditioning.
Shake your head. Nod your head. It's time to go.
A man in a rabbit mask assures us that he really is there, and insists that we shake off our torture, both physically and mentally.
See what they did to you?
He wants us to feel innocent and victimized.
Pull yourself together. Get out of prison.
Freed by the luck or design of the rabbit, we see first a tool for altering matter, and then our savior wielding a tool for altering minds. He remains unnoticed by the jailer. Did he drop our sword, or was it always there, eternally taunting us and thus long ignored? Regardless, our vision is clear and the sword is not a lie.
Kill the jailer. Fight for your freedom.
We quietly proceed, and Rabbit-Head vanishes behind us by imagination or by magic.
The jailer is the key. Kill him, and you'll be free.
The chinks in our body glow to signal our physical recovery and renewed will. Our recovery is emphasized by painlessly walking barefoot despite our extended captivity, as well as our supercharged hair that now impossibly sticks out compared to seconds ago when it settled around our shoulders. We are ready to break our psychological shackles and cement the idea that freedom is attainable. He summons an ancient symbol of power with his weapon of submission to make himself look larger and more intimidating.
Every step you've taken from that cell, I'll make you regret.
And his manner of speech is broadly brutish.
You listen to me, and you listen good. You'll never escape.
There are multiple tiers to this prison, and he has just alerted them all.
I swear I'll put you right back in your cell.
His demonic self can't wait to be unleashed.
There's an easy way and a hard way. You choose.
He's just bluffing now, because he would beat us to death for less.
Excellent choice.
A typical abuser, he hopes we are too broken and afraid to put up a real fight. He can electrocute us with his hands, appropriate for someone who enjoys torture.
Do you really think you can beat me?
Throughout the battle, he continues to impress upon us he is still in control, much like a stereotypical bully.
That's it. Bleed. You're gonna run back to your cell.
He's now an old man full of wisdom, a parent who knows best. Our punishment is our fault, not his. He's lost control over us and himself. We've broken the chains that kept his true nature subdued.
You're gonna take some putting back together when I'm done with you. I'm gonna smash you to pieces. No regen from this.
Whereas his original intention was to teach us a lesson, he now expresses an irrationally murderous intent, wishing for either the forbidden or the impossible. The experience of this encounter, and our imagination of the countless painful deaths preceding it, serve to anchor our perspective of the jailers to come, namely that they are evil, and we deserve freedom in that beautiful world. As we move in for the kill, our blue glow manifests our power and stands in for our anger. Defeated, power is now out of his grasp and his reach.
You will be broken. You will go back to yourself.
He was banking on other jailers to defeat us all along because he never actually had the spirit to win.
Bravo! Excellent! What a thrill! Not your first time, right? Anyway, the good news, we're one step closer to freedom. The bad news, there's more out there waiting for us.
His weapons are motivation and information, and we stop to listen to something that mere imagination could not conjure up.
But don't worry, I know them. I can help. Believe me, what's waiting at the end of all this is so worth the trouble.
Not just worth the trouble as the character in the game, but also as the player.
You and me, we're in the same boat now. Now let's get the hell out of here. Way down there lies a free world. A world of peace and light, where you're free as the wind. And you know what? We're going to get there.
The chain is exactly where he wants to be. He sacrifices nothing to be here. As a former victim of fear and pain, he seeks and gains pleasure only by inflicting fear and pain. Killing us again and again is his path to contentment, as we are a never-ending victim that nobody will mourn. In his little prison world, everything is planned out. There are no distractions nor unfinished projects. Nothing can harm him, and he can satisfy himself forever. That's our first impression. The game's already hinted that we should not trust what we see, so let's take another look. Starting with the buttons that line that floating circle, they are the Japanese katakana characters Ni and Ko. Nico, which is a gender-neutral but mostly feminine Japanese name. It can also be spelled another way, which means sunlight. And a circle has many meanings, including wholeness, femininity, and eternity. Could Nico be a woman or child, his eternal light who made him complete? Did she die because of us? Is that the source of his trauma? Maybe. While he does express cause for vengeance,
Payback time.
I think it goes deeper. These symbols appear elsewhere. His staff, his body, and even the rabbit wears some. It's not personal but bears cultural or even religious significance. Is Nico a god? The circle is the oldest symbol in humanity, and among its meanings are benevolence, divine law and order, and defense against formlessness and chaos. Significantly, rather than commanding it in his hands as a shield, he wears it on his back in submission as a willing agent of divine law and order. He carries the burden of enduring with faith and courage against an impossible foe. He wields a staff, an axis connecting God and man, symbolizing leadership and altruistic authority, reinforcing that he is a tool of divine will. This new image is no mere jailer, but a guardian. At the opening, once we see the guardian from a first-person perspective and understand our place in the narrative, we instinctively apply the portent of danger to ourselves and take the position that since we are immobile, the danger must come to us in the form of the guardian. Our minds easily forget the game did not start from our own perspective. We are the first person we see, and since we can't be killed, the danger lies with us. The guardian senses danger and comes to face it.
You were a weapon, a bringer of death.
By calling us a bringer of death, he justifies his position above us as an agent of the law. In Christian theology, the law serves three purposes: protection, instruction, and conviction, represented by a chain, a lamp, and a mirror. His chain exudes purity, nobility, and innocence, whereas his mirror has bent to reflect not a lack of conviction, but a perversion of it, as these countless unnecessary deaths demonstrate.
I hear thunder. Pitter patter.
The voice is assuring himself that we're not the threat we've been made out to be.
I'm not going anywhere.
He refuses to get worked up over a job that will never end and departs to regain his composure. A rabbit mask represents rebirth. Now that we are nothing, we can be reborn into anything.
See what they did to you?
He muses that the Guardian is also a prisoner, locked up and tormented by facing the source of his trauma for eternity, and now has difficulty separating the necessary from the indulgent. This first level of the prison is not just furthest from the planet, but closest to the heavens, a place to earn the gods' favor and channel their wrath, the lightning to smite evil.
What a well-thought-out torture device.
Although the camera shows the demonic mirror face, this is a trick because he's showing the prisoner the noble chain face.
Choose.
His offer is genuine. And he laughs at the thought of his destiny finally coming to a close. As his desperation peaks, he loses faith and gives in to temptation, losing himself and abusing his power, thus falling out of favor. Defeated, he's freed from his burden at last. Any semblance of authority or conduit to the divine are stripped away as he loses his staff, but he holds faith that a greater power will yet prevail against us.
You will be broken.
In defiance, we demonstrate that our will be done. The chain led a tragic existence. While his past is mostly speculative, only someone of great fortitude of character, supplemented with a personal mission, could carry out his impossible duty. That he has been corrupted over an infinite time span is understandable, and anyone less would have gone completely mad and botched the job long ago. In the end, not much is definite about the chain. He's a mysterious character, encountered during the most mysterious part of the game. At minimum, he's an effective enforcer, regardless of his personality and methods. There's no evidence he has any connection to the other Guardians, making a relationship with the Divine all the more plausible. Does he fight for personal pleasure or simply out of duty? The line between cruelty and discipline is very narrow, when you must walk it for eternity. Plot-wise, little is revealed. We are dangerous, possibly immortal, and have been imprisoned for an immeasurable time by the inhabitants of a so-called free world. We've received aid from a mysterious man whose motives, trustworthiness, and even existence are questionable. We've learned many things about the game. On the blunt end, it's about fighting for your freedom, which begins by breaking your chains, your physical and psychological constraints. Another theme is perspective, without clarity, as much of what we see and hear is ambiguous or has meaning at multiple levels of abstraction. And although it's well hidden at this stage, it's also about having a purpose beyond yourself. When I first conceived of this project, the Chain was the last character on my mind. He seemed boring and one-dimensional. Discovering I was wrong was very rewarding, and that's just another layer for what makes this game so memorable. If you've noticed something I haven't, or have come to a different conclusion based upon the same observations, please let me know, so I can see it from yet another perspective. I hope I've demonstrated there is more depth to this game than given credit, that this twitchy and violent experience provides contemplation worth fighting for.